Our next game here, Houston beats the Bills. Houston at home, they win 23-20 on a game that Sean McDermott kind of put on a platter for them at the end. The big storyline coming out of this one was Nico Collins leaving the game early, did not return with a hamstring injury after he scored a 67-yard touchdown. We got to hear from D'Amico Ryans after the game on Collins' injury and Stephon Diggs stepping up in his place. Take a listen.
The update there on Nico. Nico on the long passing touchdown. He felt his hammy grab, so he has a hammy. We'll evaluate him day to day. Yeah, we were really happy for Diggs. You know how important this win was for him. You know how important this week was for him. Anytime you're going against your old team, like a lot of guys knew we had to get this one for Diggs. Try not to make a big deal out of it throughout the entire week. But we know it, right? It's emotional. Today, for us, man, he made some really big catches on third down to keep drives moving. Like, play after play, Diggs stepped up and made plays. So I'm happy for him that we were able to get this win for him.
Jay, obviously, Nico Collins leaves the game, and it's Stephon Diggs that steps up. Not a ton from Tank Dell in this one.
No, still not a lot from Tank Dell. He had a couple of nice plays, but nothing super substantive. I think the key here is just that Nico, apparently the diagnosis is pretty solid. His day-to-day expectations he may be able to play. This week, it's a little bit of a concern when you get a hamstring injury and you can't come back into a close game after he was hampered by it in practice during the week. But look, the story like Nico Collins, who played, I think, 5 snaps. He goes 2 for 78 in the long touchdown. I mean, I think the rest of the season, if he is healthy and fine, I mean, he's in the discussion to be the #1 overall wide receiver. It'd be him, Jefferson, Chase. He's right there with all those guys.
I am, and I haven't had a chance to go back and watch the film of this game specifically, but my assumption is just from what I did watch of the game and also just looking at that box score, who are the big target leaders? Stephon Diggs, Dare Ogunbowale. Dare Ogunbowale got 6 targets in this game. My assumption is that the Bills mostly just played back. They didn't want to get beat over the top the way they did on that one Nico Collins play. Tank Dell gets limited by that, and so Diggs, who's been playing mostly the slot, Ogunbowale, like sort of dump-offs there, just felt like the underneath stuff was what was available to the Texans. I'm not ready to panic just yet on Tank Dell. It's been bad. You know, he's been banged up. He, has just an 11% target share in this game. He's averaging under 8 fantasy points per game this season. He has only one game with more than 40 receiving yards, but certainly back from the injury, first game back. They're at New England next week. You'd expect Christian Gonzalez to be on Nico Collins, assuming Nico Collins is back. We'll track that injury. So maybe there's some opportunities for Tank Dell. But I get it. It's been a slow start for our guy Tank.
Yeah,
the second best tank in the NFL at the moment.
That's right.
Yeah, it's upsetting.
Indeed. I do think this Texans offense is going to look different when Joe Mixon comes back and is healthy.
Yeah.
Because this team has only really played one game at full strength. That was in week 1, where they ran Joe Mixon 1,000,000 times. I think that's the identity Bobby Slowick wants to have. Now Nico and Stephon Diggs are still going to get theirs. We'll have to see about Tank Dell's role.
The good news from the Bills side, a lot of volume for James Cook, 20 carries, 82 yards, and a touchdown. He also caught 2 passes. The bad news is, Matthew, it's one of the worst games we've ever seen from a passing perspective for Josh Allen.
I mean, look, Josh Allen is my quarterback in the league of assholes. Thank you, Jaden Daniels, for keeping me alive there. But, Josh Allen last week got under 8 fantasy points, right? And I lost by 0.14 to this asshole. And then I got slapped like a grape. I got slapped like a grape by Jay Croucher. Yeah, 1,000%, because Josh Allen had a bad game last week. And now I'm probably going to lose to Lawrence Jackson because Josh Allen has another bad game. Career low 30% completion rate. 27% of his passes were off target. He's averaging 11 fantasy points per game over the past 2 weeks. He's now been under 15 fantasy points in 3 of 5 games. Obviously, 30-plus in the other 2. When Josh Allen's going right, there's no better quarterback in fantasy football. He is the man, but it's been you wouldn't expect 2 bad games in an entire season from Josh Allen, let alone back-to-back. And so it's a little concerning for sure. Now, no Khalil Shakir in this game, but still, that shouldn't,
That's
he's Josh Allen.
Right.
He's Josh Allen.
The reality is, you just can't go 9 for 30 in a dome. It makes no sense at all. I think there were concerns about the Bills' offense. Well, not concerns, but there were questions about the Bills' offense going into the season. New era, no Stephon Diggs, a lot of kind of bit pieces who we would see, worried about the lack of a deep threat. And then Allen in particular lit up Arizona and Jacksonville, and he moved into MVP favorite. Turns out that those two have two of the 6 worst pass defenses in the NFL. He didn't actually do that much against Miami. They killed them on the ground, and then the past 2 weeks have been a huge struggle.
Yeah, look, they're at the Jets next week. Although
for first place in the AFC East. The illustrious AFC
Have you
East.
forgotten about the Miami Dolphins, who are 1 game out of the division lead in the AFC East? As well?
I have, because they're playing Tyler Huntley at the moment.
whatever they won't get
that game is legitimately for first place, though.
Yeah, I know. Oh, I know it is. But listen, the
Dolphins lost the Bills.
The Dolphins got a W yesterday, which we can't say for the Jets.
Hey,
We
Tua
cannot say that for the
might be
Jets.
back in 2 games.
We can't say that for the Jets or the Bills. The Dolphins were the AFC East team that won yesterday. They were the only ones.
Scratched one out.
So it all looks
The
the same
AFC
in the box
is
score.
dreadful right
It all
now.
looks the same in the box score. Hopefully they get this all figured out. I don't know that there's a takeaway because you're still starting Josh Allen.
Well, my question for you is, what about Dalton Kincaid? This is where I'm concerned.
Yeah, I'm still, again, I mean, like when you go 9 for 30 and only pass for 131 yards, it's going to affect you, right? But so it's been tough with Kincaid. But if there's a positive, and there's not much, but he's had at least a 20% target share in 3 of the past 4 games. But yeah, you wrote, since week 1 was the last time that he had an 80% route participation. He's averaging under 8 fantasy points per game this season. Hasn't had a game with more than 50 yards. And so it's only the fact that the tight end position is so brutal, and because we do expect this Bills offense to get better, that we're sort of keeping the flame on for Dalton Kincaid. But he's much more of a lower-end tight end one than the top 5 guy he was drafted as. Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotoWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest RotoWorld fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.